Hello, this is Dr. Phil Fernandes, the president of the Institute of Biblical Defense and the pastor of Trinity Bible Fellowship. My tech support is here, Nathan Smith, my grandson, and I really appreciate the work he's doing. Nate, you are dismissed. Good kid. Okay, and now what I want to talk about today is my moral argument for God, my moral argument for God's existence. And it starts out like this. Look, we all make moral value judgments. You know, there's so many non-Christians saying, well, they don't believe in any such thing as right and wrong. Therefore, you Christians are wrong to want your views shared in the schools. Well, wait a minute. If there's no such thing as right and wrong, Christians are never wrong. So everybody makes moral value judgments, okay? You get people saying there's no such thing as right and wrong, and they're fighting for animal rights. What is that about? So everybody makes moral value judgments. So where do they come from? What is the final arbiter in what is right and what is wrong? Well, some would say, well, maybe it's the individual. Each individual decides what is right or what is wrong. Well, there's a problem with that. If each individual decides what is right and what is wrong, then there's no way to condemn the actions of Adolf Hitler or Joseph Stalin as wrong. Yet everybody and their mother's brother wants to condemn the actions of Hitler or Stalin. So then they might say, well, okay, well, then it's not the individual. Maybe it's the society. Each society determines what is right and what is wrong. There's problems with that. Number one, if society's always right, then the moral reformer, whether it's Jesus or Martin Luther King Jr. Or Wilberforce in Great Britain trying to end slavery, if society's always right, then the moral reformer is always wrong. And that's very counterintuitive right there. But another major problem is, if each society is right, then one society, if the final arbiter in what is right and what is wrong is a society, then one society like America has no right to condemn another society as wrong. So we can't condemn the Nazis, we can't condemn the Taliban or ISIS or Al-Qaeda, but everybody wants to condemn the actions, and rightfully so, of Islamic terrorists and like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, or the Taliban. And we want to condemn the actions of a Hitler or a Stalin. So we want to condemn the actions of those societies. The South before 1860 with slavery, the society was wrong to allow that kind of thing to occur, to allow slavery to occur. So we need the final arbiter in what is right and what is wrong has got to be above all individuals and all societies. Some people might say, well, maybe it's the world consensus. Well, number one, I don't even know what the world consensus is. I mean, CNN never gave me a little voting device where I push a button, and that's what Phil Fernandes thinks. Let's add that and find out what the world consensus is. So I don't even know if there is a world consensus today. But, there's been the world consensus in the past. Maybe even you go back far enough, and they thought the world was flat. Usually got to go back a lot further than a lot of people think. The world consensus used to be the woman was just property of the man. She had no rights. Well, we all agree that was wrong. The world consensus used to be slavery is permissible and there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, that's the consensus in most countries today that have never been influenced by the Christian worldview. It was the Christian worldview that led to the abolition of slavery in societies that were influenced by Christianity. So whatever the case, though, what we're looking at is that if the world consensus was wrong, and we say, no, women have rights, they should have equal rights with the man. If we're saying the world consensus was wrong, slavery is wrong. So we're looking for a moral standard above all individuals, above all societies, and above any world consensus. And then, even moral relativists, those who don't believe, what's right for you is right for you, it doesn't have to be right for me, and vice versa. Even more relativists condemn actions of the past, and they try to build a better future. And they're trying to build a better world. So they're imposing a moral standard upon the world consensus. They're condemning the past, trying to build a better future. They're acting like there's a moral standard above all individuals, above all societies, and above any world consensus. And this moral standard doesn't change with time. So we can condemn the past and try to build a better future. I think what that tells us is that we need a moral lawgiver above all individuals, above all societies, above any world consensus, and it's got to be a moral lawgiver that doesn't change with time. That sounds to me like the God of the Bible. God bless you.